My colleague David was an accountant who spent 40 years meticulously planning his retirement. He saw it as the final, glorious calculation of a life well lived. But there was one variable he missed, an error that would cost him his life just 6 months after he stopped working. He dreamed of freedom, of mornings with no alarm, of traveling with his wife, of finally building the intricate ship-in-a-bottle collection he'd only ever read about. When the day finally came, we threw him a party. We gave him a gold watch, the irony, shook his hand, and watched him walk out the door into that long-awaited freedom. 6 months later, I was at his funeral. His family was shipwrecked by confusion. He planned perfectly, his wife told me, her voice hollowed out by grief. We had the finances, we had the itinerary, he was happy. But his calculations were missing the most important variables, the ones that don't appear on a balance sheet. His story is not a myth. I have spent a lifetime observing this pattern from my desk, watching the careers of my peers begin, flourish, and end. And I have seen this happen too many times for it to be a statistical anomaly. Now you might be thinking David's story is just that, a story, a statistical fluke. After all, the official tables tell us a 65-year-old can expect to live another 2 decades. But averages are a tranquilizer for the curious mind. They are like a calm sea that hides the dangerous currents underneath. They smooth over the data point of the man who dies at 66, statistically canceling him out with the one who lives to 90. But his life is not canceled out, it's over, and there's a tremor in those charts the averages try to hide. Studies have confirmed a small but significant spike in mortality right after people stop working. It's a pattern hiding in plain sight. So the question isn't if retirement can be deadly. We know it can. The question is why it becomes a death sentence for some and a golden age for others. The answer isn't found in their 401s, it's found in their daily blueprints. It's the difference between those who retire from something and those who retire to something. For those who fail to see the difference, it's not the act of retiring that's the killer, it's the void that's left behind. Imagine a deep-sea diver surfacing too quickly. The sudden drop in pressure is what does the damage. That's what happens when a lifetime of structure, purpose, and connection disappears overnight. The first danger is the loss of structure. For 40, sometimes 50 years, a job provides a powerful framework. It is the trellis that your life grows upon, giving you direction and support. When that trellis is yanked away overnight, the vine of your daily life collapses into a heap. This creates a personal recession, a sudden downturn in purposeful activity. I had a colleague, a brilliant market analyst named Robert. His life was governed by the opening bell on Wall Street. His mind was a finely tuned instrument, always processing. At 62, he retired, and suddenly the symphony stopped. The data streams were cut off. The problems were all solved. He confessed to me over coffee, "I feel like a library where all the books have been burned." His sense of purpose was gone. He lasted 18 months. I remember another man, a shop foreman. His identity was forged in the factory whistle. He was the conductor of a powerful orchestra of machinery. When he retired, the silence of his own home was deafening. He told me he felt like a machine that had been switched off and left to rust. He lasted less than a year. This isn't just boredom. It's like being a concert pianist who has their piano taken away. The skill is still there, but without the instrument, the music inside you begins to fade. The second danger is the erosion of social capital. This sounds like an academic term, but it's as real as the cash in your bank. The people you work with are your daily network. They are the sounding boards, the audience for your stories, the simple human contact that confirms your existence. When that disappears, the silence can be profound and deadly. I think of 2 women from my old firm. One, a salesman named Eleanor, had a vast network. After retiring, she made it her new job to have lunch with someone 3 times a week. The other, a quiet programmer named June, had always preferred her code. She retreated into her home, assuming the quiet she craved would be a comfort. It wasn't. It was an echo chamber of loneliness. Eleanor is still playing golf at 85. June was gone in 3 years. Doctors called it failure to thrive. What I saw was a profound, fatal loneliness. Loneliness is not a feeling, it is a chronic condition. Research has shown its health risks can be comparable to smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I watched peers who were models of physical health decline faster in isolation than others with serious ailments who maintained a strong network. Your social life is like a campfire. If you don't actively add logs, the flames will die out, leaving you in the cold and dark. The third danger is the physiological shock of financial worry. We spend our lives modeling risk for clients, but fail to model the personal corrosive impact of that risk on our own bodies. I have attended the funerals of men who were perfectly healthy before a market crash took half their savings. One friend, an engineer named Michael, had his finances meticulously planned, but he was over-leveraged in tech stocks. The dot-com bust didn't just wipe out his portfolio, it wiped out his spirit. The constant grinding stress was like redlining a car's engine day after day. He stopped sleeping. He lost weight. Eventually the engine blew a gasket. For Michael, that gasket was his heart. But it's not just the high-risk players. I knew another man, Arthur, who was the opposite. He was so terrified of outliving his money that he lived like a pauper. He had more than enough, but a scarcity mindset turned his life into a prison. The constant anxiety over phantom future costs created a present-day hell. The stress itself became a compounding debt on his vitality. Financial health and physical health are not separate accounts. A loss in one will always be debated from the other. So what is the correct model for a successful, long retirement? The people I've watched thrive understand that retirement is not a withdrawal. It's a reallocation of assets. They don't liquidate their life's portfolio. They reinvest it. They built new structures. You cannot replace a 40-hour work week with nothing. You must replace the engine of work with an engine of purpose. My neighbor, a retired lawyer, now volunteers helping adults learn to read. He has a reason to get out of bed, and people who depend on him. Others take classes. Others decide their new job is becoming the world's best grandfather. It doesn't matter what it is, only that it exists. They stayed in motion. Your body is not meant to sit idle. Daily movement is maintenance, gardening, walking a dog, staying upright and engaged. They also train strength and balance. A fall after 70 is not a small event. It can be the beginning of the end. Strength protects independence. They actively manage their social lives. They understood their social circle is a garden, not a forest. It requires tending. They scheduled calls. They joined clubs. They played cards. They took up pickleball. A healthy mind requires regular input. They hedged against financial stress. They budgeted. They planned health care. And many of them kept working, part-time, consulting, or locally. This is not failure, it is diversification. I am 93 years old. I've outlived my wife. I've outlived most of my friends and colleagues. And I can tell you, with the certainty of a lifetime of observation, the people who died just after retirement all made the same fatal error. They believed life was a project with a deadline. Once shipped, they thought the work was over. My colleague David, the man who died 6 months after that gold watch, spent 40 years planning a future he never entered. He had the money, the time, the bottles for the ships, but he never built them. The risks of retirement are not financial, they are systemic. An empty schedule, a silent network, the corrosive poison of worry. But those who thrive reinvest. They reallocate purpose. They retire to life, not from it. Your project isn't over. Your ledger is not closed. Don't make the same mistake.